What's up, YouTube? Murphy Firearms Training here, and I have for you two things. Number one, something new to the channel. This bad boy right here. Got it set open so that you can see it's unloaded. This is the Smith and Wesson 460 Performance Center. This is the unported 460 Smith and Wesson snub nose, 3.5-inch barrel. And there you can see our caliber, 460 Smith and Wesson Magnum. And it's got a few scratches, a few carry marks. It's been carried in some pretty rough country, but I'm excited to shoot it. I'm excited to compare it to some things. I have already hand-loaded 100 rounds for this in anticipation of getting this gun, and pretty excited. And what I want to do is I want to compare this gun, the Smith & Wesson 460 Performance Center, to my little fire-breathing dragon, the Ruger Super Redhawk ALASKAN, that is chambered in 454 Casull. So here we go. We got our 454 Super Redhawk versus our 460 Smith & Wesson Performance Center. So what I want to do is a couple of things. I want to get some weights. I'm going to kind of lay these side by side, let you see the lengths, the measurements, all of that good stuff. So, and I don't really care much about lengths. If you've held one or the other gun, you'll get a good idea. These are both unloaded. I've showed you that, so I'm going to go ahead and close my cylinder. Here is the 460. I've got this guy lined up here. And what I'm going to do is just superimpose the 454, the Super Redhawk ALASKAN, line the back of the grips up, and basically what you see is the trigger is slightly further back, so slightly less trigger reach on this one. Of course, the cylinder is considerably shorter. The frame is considerably shorter. And then this does have a 2.5-inch barrel, and this has a 3.5-inch barrel. And one thing I want to show you guys, because I think this is interesting to see, is a side-by-side comparison of the cylinders, okay? So the Super Redhawk is a 1.4-inch cylinder, and the Performance Center, all of the X-Frame Smith & Wessons are a 1.7-inch cylinder. And that extra cylinder, of course, adds a lot of weight. It adds extra frame length. And so even if this was a 2.5-inch barrel, it would be a considerably longer gun. Another way to think of this is if I line them up at the muzzle, okay, you see this definitely has a longer barrel if I line them up at the muzzle. But even then, if they had the same length barrel, you add that extra cylinder and frame length to accommodate that cylinder, you get a much longer gun. So it's definitely a longer gun, and you can see this Performance Center sticks way out from that Ruger Super Redhawk ALASKAN. So that's the first thing. Second thing I want to do is go ahead and get a weight on these. So I'm going to bring my handy dandy scale in here. It's just a kitchen scale. It's nothing fancy. Don't really know how accurate it is. It's good enough for me. Here we go. Let's start with the Super Redhawk ALASKAN. The Super Redhawk ALASKAN tips the scale at 2 pounds, 11.5 ounces. Now on Ruger's website, this gun says it weighs 44 ounces, okay, which would be 2 pounds, 12 ounces. So we're coming up a ½ ounce shy of that. So, yeah, that's not bad. So 2 pounds, 11.5 ounces. Now, on the same scale, the Smith & Wesson Performance Center 460 is coming in at 3 pounds, 10.8 ounces. So this is almost a full pound heavier, almost a full pound. So we're coming up really 14 ounces heavier, almost a full pound heavier. So definitely a meaty gun, and that's the extra barrel length, the extra frame length, and the extra cylinder is all adding that weight. The Smith & Wesson's actually a little more trim. It doesn't look as chunky as the Super Redhawk, but because it's got to have the longer cylinder and all of that. So that's the first thing, the weight. So we saw the length, we saw the weight. The second thing I do want to show you that you may or may not realize is the Smith & Wesson is, count 'em, a 5-shot cylinder, and the Ruger Super Redhawk is, count 'em, voila, a 6-shot cylinder. So the Super Redhawk, you do get one more round. So why would I go get this gun when I already have this gun? And the answer is A, because I love recoil, and B, because this gun will shoot 45 Colt. This gun will shoot 45 Colt. This gun will shoot 454 Casull. This one will shoot 454 Casull. And then this one will also shoot 460. To give you an idea, my favorite hand load in this gun is a 300 grain bullet with 29 grains of a particular powder. The recipe for this 460 cartridge with that same 300 grain bullet calls for between 40 and 44 grains, whereas this has a max of 30 with that same powder in the load manual I use. So I shoot 29. That's plenty. I'm starting to get it's just enough. Anything more, I start to get pressure signs, so I don't go above 29 in the 454. Same bullet, same powder. This recipe calls for 40 to 44. So, you know, that is a lot more powder, folks, and that's going to turn into a lot more energy and a lot more recoil. So anyway, it is deer season right now where I live, so archery season is in, and I'm out deer hunting, so it's hard for me to do a range video, but at some point you're going to see some range videos of this guy with some slow motion footage and some very, 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 very fun loads. I've got some 325 grain factory loads, some 360 grain hard cast hand loads, and some 300 grain hollow point loads. So definitely going to be some fun, and they're all 460 Smith and Wesson loads, not 454 loads. So definitely going to be, if this is the fire-breathing dragon, this is the magic bazooka. I don't know. We'll have to give it a nickname. But anyway, it's kind of a cool gun. So wanted to update you guys. This is our newest acquisition. Can't wait to shoot it. I will say it's interesting. This is a Hogue grip on the Alaskan, and I really love this grip. It makes shooting this gun fairly comfortable and fairly tolerable. And if you're not used to a lot of recoil, it's not comfortable to shoot. But if you've shot some heavy recoiling guns, this is a great grip. It really absorbs the recoil well. Really lets you get a good grip on the gun. And I didn't realize this. I knew it's Smith and Wesson branded. It's got their logo on it. But it's almost the identical grip in terms of thumb grooves and all of that. And I looked, and I didn't see anywhere on it where it had Hogue's name. But I'm certain this is the same Hogue grip. And it fits my hand well. It's a good, comfortable grip. So I do know that I'll enjoy shooting it, at least from the perspective of the grip. So the other thing I wanted to do, guys, I wanted to test the trigger pulls on these. Now, the double action triggers on both of these are pretty heavy, and I'm not sure how well the trigger gauge will work because it maxes out, I think, at 12 pounds, and they're pretty heavy, so we'll see. And this is a performance center gun. It's supposed to be tuned. It's supposed to be a little better, trigger. We'll see. I don't know. So I've got this set. I'm going to try our trigger pull on our Ruger Alaskan in double action. 11 pounds, 7.5 ounces. Try another one. 11 pounds, 8.6 ounces. So we're getting 11.5. One more. We'll do one more. Okay. £12. And so I don't know what that comes out to because it maxes at 12 pounds. Okay. So now let's try the Smith and Wesson double action. See how this does. Okay, here we go. Well, we got a weight measurement there. Let's try that. Okay, here we go. 11 pounds, 10.6. So really, not any different. Let's try it again. They're both pretty heavy in double action. I'm not going to lie to you. 11 pounds, 14.7. £11, 7.3. So both of these have about an 11.5 pound double action trigger. Let's try the single action trigger. Okay, so the Ruger first. 3.5 pounds. Let's try it again. 3.2. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Excuse me, not 3.2. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. And the last one, 3 pounds, 7 ounces. So just under 3.5 pounds, 3.25 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. Not a bad single action trigger. Let's try the Performance Center gun. 3 pounds, 13 ounces. Realized I was shooting you guys the bird there. I try not to do that. 4 pounds, 4.5 ounces. Come on, trigger gauge, reset. There we go. One more try. 3 pounds, 14 ounces. So, anyway, this is a stock gun from Ruger. There's no tuning, there's no polishing. Every 454, every Ruger Alaskan Super Redhawk, this is how it comes off. It's a nice polished finish. I do love the finish they put on this, by the way. It's a satin finish, but I like it. This is more of a bead blast finish. It's a little more matte. Which I guess for hunting, if you're out in the wilderness, this may be a better finish, but yeah, I don't know, this is prettier to me. Double action trigger is pretty much identical in terms of how they feel to me and what the trigger gauge says. The Ruger actually gets a slight edge on the single action trigger. It's slightly lighter, and it's very crisp on this gun. On this one, it is very crisp. I mean, it's like glass. There's no creep. There's no movement. I mean, it breaks real clean. This is a nice single action trigger, but this is a Performance Center gun, right? It says it right on the barrel, Performance Center. Someone at Smith and Wesson sat and tuned and polished this gun. This is an off-the-line stock gun from Ruger. So take that with what you will. That's kind of the comparison of the two. I will say this one is not bad to carry on your hip. It's not too heavy in a good holster. It's pretty comfortable. This one, because of the added length of the cylinder, I don't have a hip holster for it. I've not tried carrying it on the hip, but you definitely should have a pancake holster and a really good belt if you want to carry this on your hip. I do have a chest holster for this, and I do plan to carry it in the woods in the chest holster. I may eventually get a hip holster as well, but for now I've got a chest holster for it, and I do plan on carrying it in the woods in the chest holster. So thought that would be a fun video to do, guys. I hope it's informative. I hope you enjoy it. If there's anything else you want to know about either of these guns, I'd love to hear from you. Leave it in the comments. Shoot me a message. Appreciate your support, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share the video. The more support we get, the more stuff we can do. And as always, thanks for watching.